Average people buy homes to live in or flip for profit, but the wealthy play a different game. They buy, and they never sell. Why? Because selling property means losing future income, paying capital gains tax, and killing long-term leverage. Instead, the rich borrow against their properties. They unlock cash without triggering taxes. Imagine using your home as a wealth engine, a tool to generate income, fund investments, and pass down to future generations. Sounds impossible. ETC? Not. In this video, we'll break down how the ultra-wealthy turn real estate into a permanent source of tax-free capital, how they grow wealth with debt, and why they refuse to sell what they already own. And by the end, you'll understand how you can use these same strategies to build financial power, no matter where you start. Imagine you own a $5 million property. Most people would think, great, time to sell and cash out. But here's what the rich know. Once you sell, you pay taxes, you lose the asset, and you stop the cash flow. Instead, they go to the bank. That $5 million property, they borrow $3 to $4 million against it. Over 5 to 10 years, it may rise to $6 to $7 million in value. The equity grows. They can now borrow again, a bigger amount, still tax-free. Meanwhile, inflation eats away at the real value of the loan, so they're repaying back that $4 million in tomorrow's dollars, while their assets get more valuable. This is how the rich operate. They don't trade assets for cash. They trade equity for liquidity, and with that liquidity, they expand their empire. This is what we call a debt machine, an asset that funds your future without ever being sold. It's like owning your own personal bank. And here's the kicker. They can repeat this process with every property they own. That's how 1 becomes 10. That's how net worth explodes. Selling an asset is like cutting down a tree for one meal. Smart investors, especially the ultra-rich, never sell unless absolutely necessary. Why? Because when you sell, 1, you pay capital gains taxes. 2, you lose the appreciation potential. 3, you lose rental income. 4, you kill borrowing potential. The rich don't TC real estate as a one-time play. They see it as a financial engine. It produces rental income. It increases in value over time. It unlocks tax benefits, and it can be used to secure massive loans. So why would you sell? It's like owning a golden goose and trading it for a few golden eggs. A single property, held for decades, can fund multiple investments through borrowing. It can support multiple generations through inheritance, and it can serve as a consistent income stream. But it's not just about money. It's about control. When you own and never sell, you control the asset forever. You decide how it's used, who benefits from it, and when to borrow against it. The wealthy think in decades, not quarters, and that mindset makes all the difference. Their motto, buy, hold, borrow, repeat. And that's how they stay rich, not just for themselves, but for generations. If you had $500,000, would you buy one home outright or use it to control $2.5 million in real estate? That's the power of leverage, and it's how the wealthy get wealthy faster. Leverage means using debt to increase the size and impact of your investments, and it is not as risky as it sounds if you know what you're redoing. Example, you use $200,000 as a 20% down payment on a $1 million rental property. That property brings in $6,000 month in rent and appreciates by 5% annually. Over a few years, your equity grows. Your tenant pays down the loan. You refinance. You buy another. That's what the rich do. They multiply wealth by controlling more with less of their own money. But the key is this. Not all debt is bad. Bad debt buys things that lose value. Good debt buys assets that earn and appreciate. The rich don't fear debt. They structure it. Time Italiano, they use it to build empires. In fact, most billionaires have tons of debt. Not because they responsibly, but because they know how to use it better than anyone else. In the wealth game, leverage is the most powerful tool there is. The question is, are you ready to use it? Here's a little-known secret that helps the rich stay rich: the step-up in basis. When a wealthy individual dies, their heirs inherit properties at their current value, not the original purchase price. That means no capital gains taxes owed on all the appreciation. For example, if Grandpa bought a building for $1 million and it is worth $5 million when he passes, the heirs inherit it at the $5 million value. That $4 million gain, completely untaxed. This is why the rich almost never sell. They hold assets until death, pass them on, and legally avoid millions in taxes. But it gets better. The next generation borrows against the inherited property, just like the previous one. The asset continues to generate income. The tax burden is reset, and the cycle repeats. This is how dynasties are built, not just by owning property, but by understanding the rules of the game. The ultra-wealthy use trusts, LLCs, and estate planning tools to protect their assets and make sure they stay in the family. Real estate isn't just wealth. It's a shield against taxes, against inflation, against loss. And the best part? This strategy is legal, replicable, and available to anyone willing to learn. You've now seen the full blueprint. The rich don't sell property because they've learned the system. They understand that real estate is more than just land. It's leverage. It's liquidity. It's a legacy. They use homes not to live in, but to fund businesses, acquire more assets, and pass down wealth. And you can, too. These strategies aren't reserved for billionaires. If you own property, or plan to, the game is wide open. So ask yourself, would you rather sell your home and get a one-time payout, or borrow against it and build generational wealth? Let me know in the comments. Would you sell, or would you leverage? If this video opened your mind, hit the like button. Subscribe for more finance breakdowns that reveal how the system really works. And remember, assets are tools. Debt is power when used wisely. Wealth isn't just earned, it's structured. You don't need to be rich to start, but you need to start thinking like the rich.